Chapter 4 of the Virata Parva. Arjuna challenges the Kaurava army. After the king of the Matsyas had recovered the cows, Duryodhana and the Kuru host invaded the kingdom of Virat. With Bhisma, Drona, Kripa, Karna, Ashvatthama, and Dushashan, Duryodhana succeeded in driving away the cowherdsmen and stealing 60,000 cows. When the cowherdsmen were defeated, they went to the city to complain to the king of the action of the Kurus. When the cowherdsmen saw that the city was emptied of men, they approached Uttara Kumar, the son of the king. They related to him everything that had happened and asked that he come and free the cows at once. Hearing the appeals of the cowherdsmen, Uttara Kumar spoke to them. As expert as I am in the use of the bow, I would set out this very day if only I could find someone who could be my charioteer. Therefore look for someone competent to manage my horses, and I will, without delay, enter the battlefield and penetrate deep into the ranks of the Kaurava army. I will fight with Bhisma, Drona, Karna, Duryodhana, and Ashvatthama, and defeat them all. The Kaurava army shall witness my prowess. Seeing me raining arrows from my chariot, they will ask if it is not Arjuna returned to take back the kingdom. Hearing these words, Arjuna spoke in private to his dear wife Draupadi. Go and tell Uttara Kumar that Brihadnala was formerly the charioteer of Arjuna and has been tried in many battles previously. While the prince was still glorifying himself, Panchali bashfully spoke out from amongst the women. The handsome youth of the name Brihadnala was formerly the charioteer of Arjuna. It is he who held the reins of Arjuna's chariot when Agni consumed the Khandava forest. It was with him that Partha conquered all creatures at Khandavaprastha. In fact, there is no charioteer equal to him. Uttara replied, O Sairendri, you may know what this youth's past history may be. You may know what this one of the neuter sex may or may not have done. I cannot, however, request Brihadnala to hold the reins of my chariot. Draupadi said, Brihadnala, O hero, will without doubt obey the commands of your younger sister. If he consents to become your charioteer, you will, without doubt, return having vanquished the Kurus and rescued the cows. Thus addressed by Sairendri, Uttara asked his sister to go to the dancing hall and bring Brihadnala to him. The princess then hurriedly went to the dancing hall and requested Brihadnala to come to the court to become the charioteer of Uttara Kumar. The princess stated that if he did not do so, she would give up her life. Brihadnala quickly agreed and came to the presence of the young prince. Uttara said, O Brihadnala, Sairendri has said that formerly you drove the chariot of Arjuna when he conquered the whole world. Will you not therefore drive my chariot and help me conquer the Kuru host who have stolen away our cows? Arjuna replied, O prince, what ability do I have to act as a charioteer? I only know about music, dance, and songs. I can entertain you in this way, but little do I know about holding the reins of a chariot. Uttara Kumar said, O Brihadnala, whether you are a dancer or a singer, take the reins of my chariot and together let us challenge the Kuru warriors. Although Arjuna knew everything, yet in the presence of all, he began to make many mistakes trying to put on his armor. All the women began to laugh at his attempts to put on the golden mail. Seeing Arjuna failing to put on the armor properly, Uttara Kumar helped him equip himself for battle. Together they then mounted the chariot and hoisted the flag on the chariot, bearing the sign of a lion. As they were leaving, the girls of the palace said, O Brihadnala, bring for us some sample of the fine clothes from Bhisma and Drona after Kumara has defeated them in battle. Agreeing with their proposal, Arjuna urged the horses on, and they left the city of Virat. Having left the city, the heroic son of Virat spoke to Brihadnala as follows. Proceed quickly to where the Kurus are. I will rescue the cows and bring them back to the city, bringing great joy to my father. Arjuna quickly caught up to the retreating Kuru army. It looked like a vast sea and was causing dust to rise up into the sky. Beholding the ocean of the Kuru warriors headed by Bhisma, Drona, Karna, and Duryodhana, the hairs of Uttara's body stood up on end out of fear. He then spoke to Partha these words. I am incapable of fighting with so many warriors. These heroes cannot be vanquished even by the denizens of heaven. My mind is overcome with fear at the very sight of Bhisma and Drona. My father has gone out to meet the Trigartas and has left me alone to encounter these innumerable warriors. Therefore, O Brihadnala, cease to advance any further. Brihadnala replied, Why do you look so pale and fearful? This will only bring joy to your enemy. As of yet you have not encountered one warrior on the field of battle. It was you who ordered me to drive your chariot and challenge the enemy. I will, therefore, take you to the front line of the battlefield. In the presence of the women you talked of your prowess. How is it that you want to run from the battlefield? If you were to return home without fighting, men and women would meet together and laugh at you. As for myself, I will not return from the battlefield without rescuing the cows. I have been praised highly by Sarindri and also by you, and therefore I will give battle to the Kurus. Uttarakamar said, Let the Kurus rob the Matsyas of all their wealth. Let the men and women laugh at me. Let the cows perish, and let the city be a desert. Let me stand exposed before my father. Still there is no need for battle. Saying this much, the prince, overcome by fear, jumped from his chariot and ran away, sacrificing honor and pride. Brihadnala called to him, This is not the practice of those who are brave. A Kshatriya never runs away from his enemies. Even death in battle is better than running away from the battlefield. Saying this and descending from the chariot, Arjuna, the son of Kunti, ran after the prince, while his braid and red garments fluttered in the air. When the Kuru warriors saw this scene, they burst into laughter. They began to talk amongst themselves. Who is this person who is part man and part woman? Although bearing a neuter form, he resembles Arjuna. He has the same head, arms, neck, and he walks in the same way as Arjuna. He is certainly none other than Arjuna. Who else but Arjuna would dare to challenge us alone? The one running away is Uttara, the king's son. He has come out of the city due to childishness, and not of true heroism. Arjuna is running after him to bring him back. Talking in this way, the Kuru generals could not come to any conclusion. Meanwhile, Arjuna caught up to Uttara within 100 steps and grabbed him by the hair. Afflicted in this way, he pleaded with Arjuna, Listen, O Brihadnala, let us turn the chariot and go back to the city. He that lives meets with prosperity. I will give you all kinds of wealth and beautiful women as well. Only please set me free. When addressed in this way, Arjuna laughed and dragged Uttara back to the chariot. Arjuna then, through compassion for the frightened prince, said to him, If, O chastiser of the enemy, you do not wish to fight with them, then hold the reins of the chariot and I will fight with them. Protected by the might of my arms, we will penetrate the ranks of the enemy and subdue them. Do not succumb to fear. In this way Arjuna comforted the frightened prince and asked him to ascend the chariot. He then told Uttara to drive the chariot toward the Shami tree that was just outside the city. This was the place where the Pandavas had left their weapons. Beholding that person of the third sex seated on the chariot, the Kurus headed by Bhisma and Drona became frightened at the thought that it might be Arjuna. They then noticed evil omens in all directions. Violent and hot winds began to blow. The sky became overcast with a dark gloom. The clouds presented a strange sight, and jackals began howling from all directions. Seeing this, Drona ordered the troops into battle formation. He told them, Stand your ground and do not flee out of fear. Protect yourselves and expect a terrible slaughter. This person on the chariot dressed like a eunuch is definitely Arjuna. There is no doubt about this. Vanquishing us, he will take away the cows today. I do not see any hero amongst us who can withstand him. He has even defeated the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Indra. Hearing these words, Karna said, You always speak of the glories of Arjuna, but he is not an equal to a 16th part of myself or Duryodhana. Then Duryodhana said, If this be Arjuna, then my purpose has been served. He will have to again go to the forest for another 12 years. Or if this be anyone else in a eunuch's garb, I will prostrate him on the ground with my arrows. Meanwhile, reaching the Shami tree, Arjuna addressed Uttara Kamar. Climb this tree and bring down that bag covered in the skin of an animal. It appears like a corpse, but it contains the weapons of the Pandavas. Out of all the weapons, I want the Gandiva bow that is owned by Arjuna. It is the strongest of all bows and can withstand great strength. With it I will defeat the Kuru host. Uttara then climbed the tree and cut the wrappings from around the bag and beheld the weapons of the Pandavas shining like the sun. He saw the Gandiva bow along with 4 other bows, and he was struck with wonder. His hair stood on end, and touching those bows, he spoke to Arjuna. To what warrior does this excellent bow belong? To what warrior does this bow belong that has golden elephants embossed on it? Whose bow is this that has golden suns of great effulgence embossed on it? Whose bow is this that is inlaid with gold and precious gems? Whose quivers are these covered in gold and holding 1,000 arrows with golden heads? All these swords, maces, bows, and arrows have an effulgence that is hard to bear. Tell me truly, O Brihadnala, to whom do these weapons belong? Brihadnala replied, "The bow of which you have inquired about first is Arjuna's bow called the Gandiva. It is famed throughout the three worlds and is equal to 100,000 weapons. It was originally owned by Lord Shiva for the period of 1,000 years. It was then owned by Indra for 80 years and Soma for 500 years. Varuna has owned it for 100 years, and now Arjuna has owned it for 65 years. Partha has obtained this bow from Varuna. The other bows belong to the other Pandavas. The quivers you asked about belong to Arjuna and are inexhaustible. The other quivers and weapons belong to Yudhisthira, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadev, respectively." Uttara said, "These weapons are very beautiful, but where is the son of Pritha Arjuna, as well as Yudhisthira, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadev? We have heard that they have lost their kingdom and are now in exile. Also, where is Draupadi, who followed her lords into the forest, although she was a princess accustomed to great comforts?" Arjuna replied, "I am Arjuna, also called Partha. Your father's counselor, called Kanka, is Yudhisthira. Your father's cook is Bhima, the caretaker of your father's horses is Nakula, and the cowherdsman that takes care of your father's cows is Sahadev. Know the maidservant of Sudeshna, Sairindri, to be Draupadi. For her sake, Kichaka was slain." Uttara said, "I will believe you if you can tell me the 10 names of Arjuna." Arjuna replied, "I will tell you, O son of Virat, my 10 names. Listen to them with close attention. They are Arjuna, Falgun, Jishnu, Kiritin, Shvetavahan, Vibhatsu, Vijay, Krishna, Savyasachin, and Dhananjaya. I am known as Dhananjaya because I have defeated all countries and taken away their wealth. They call me Vijay because I go to the battlefield and never return without vanquishing my enemy. I am called Shvetavahan because of the white horses yoked to my chariot. They call me Falgun because I was born on the crest of Mount Himavat at the auspicious time when the constellation Uttara Falgun was on the ascendant. I am named Kiritin because of the crown given by Indra that is as effulgent as the sun. I am known as Vibhatsu among demigods and men for never having committed an unworthy deed on the battlefield. I am known as Savyasachin because of drawing my bow with both hands I can release innumerable arrows. I am known as Arjuna because my complexion has no equal on earth. I am also known as Jishnu because I am undefeatable on the battlefield, and I was given the name Krishna because I always meditate on Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the Yadu dynasty." Hearing this, Uttara Kumar was highly pleased and offered respects and worship to Arjuna. He begged his forgiveness for acting out of fear and then agreed to drive his chariot. Ascending the chariot, he said to Arjuna, "Order me where I should drive this chariot." Uttara Kumar took all the weapons of the Pandavas and put them in the chariot. He cast off all fear and was prepared to do as he was ordered. He said to Arjuna, "I will drive this chariot as Daruka drives the chariot of Lord Krishna, or as Matali drives the chariot of Indra." Then Arjuna took off his bracelets and wore on his hands a pair of beautiful gloves embroidered with gold. He then tied his hair in the back with a fine white cloth. Seated on an excellent chariot, he turned toward the east, purifying his body and concentrating his attention on the form of Lord Krishna. He recalled to his mind all his weapons, and they came to him saying, "We are here, O illustrious one. We are your servants, O son of Indra." Obtaining the celestial weapons, Arjuna looked cheerful. After stringing his bow, he pulled back the string and released it, causing the earth to tremble, and the hearts of the Kurus were seized with fear. He then hoisted on the chariot his own golden banner, bearing the insignia of an ape who was none other than Hanuman. Then Arjuna, his fingers encased in leather gloves, set out in a northerly direction. He blew on his conch shell, causing a tremendous sound to vibrate in all directions. The hairs of the Kuru warriors stood on end, and Uttara Kumar fell to his knees at the sound of the blast. Even his horses fell to the ground at the sound of his conch. Arjuna then took the reins of the chariot, raised the horses, and comforted Uttara. He said, "Why are you afraid at the sound of a conch? You are a Kshatriya by birth and have heard the blast of many conch shells. Why are you so terrified now?" Uttara Kumar replied, "I have heard the sounds of many conch shells on the field of battle, but none like this. Nor have I ever seen a banner like this one with a monkey shouting heart-rending screams. The sound of your bow and the blare of your conch, as well as the screams of this superhuman creature on the banner, have greatly bewildered me. The whole sky seems to be affected by the monkey on this banner, and the sound of your Gandiva bow has deafened my ears." Arjuna said, "Firmly stand on the chariot and tightly catch the reins, for I will blow the conch again." Arjuna then blew his conch shell, which was so loud that the mountains seemed to split and the clouds dispersed from the sky. Hearing this, Drona said, It appears from the sound of his conch shell that this is none other than Arjuna. The evil omens in all directions indicate misfortune for the Kurus. The whole of our army is stepping backwards out of fear of that ape on the banner of Arjuna's chariot. Sending the cows ahead, we should stand here prepared to meet the onslaught of Arjuna. Duryodhana then said to the Kuru generals, "It appears that Arjuna has come out of hiding before completing the last year of exile. This being the case, they will have to enter the forest for another 12 years. We will have to consult grandfather in this regard. We must now prepare ourselves to fight. Why are these great generals sitting on their chariots, panic-stricken?" Karna then said, "Everything is in confusion because Drona has come under the sway of fear. He is affectionate towards Arjuna and he does not want to fight. I see that all our generals are seized with fear. I don't care if it is Indra himself that we have to encounter. I will fight with all my weapons and kill this Arjuna. I am in no way inferior to Arjuna, and today I will slay him as promised in the gambling match to my friend Duryodhana. I will grind this Arjuna into the ground, and with my javelin I will kill this monkey that rides on the banner. You will behold today Arjuna's chariot broken, his horses killed, his prowess gone, and himself laying on the ground sighing like a snake." Kripa then said, "O Karna, your heart is crooked and always inclined to war. Do you not remember that he alone stopped the onslaught of the Gandharvas in the forest of Dvaitavan while you ran from the battlefield? Do you not remember that Arjuna alone killed the Nivatakavachas who were incapable of being slain by the demigods? Even Indra himself is unfit to fight with Arjuna. He therefore who wants to fight with Arjuna should take sleeping pills. You are like a fool that wants to enter blazing fire. You want to tie a stone around your neck and enter the deepest part of a river. Although he is undefeatable, still we should stand and array our troops in battle formation. Do not out of foolishness fight with Arjuna alone. If all 6 of the great warriors fight with him at one time, then maybe we can defeat him." Ashvatthama then said, "O Karna, you cannot win battles with words. Why then do you boast? What Kshatriya is there that expresses delight at winning a kingdom with dice like the wicked son of Dhritarashtra? In single combat did you defeat the Pandavas for their kingdom? What act of prowess caused you to order Draupadi to be brought into the assembly of kings, and by what act of prowess did you endeavor to see her stripped naked? Take out your dice and throw them at Arjuna. Let the sinful Shakuni come and fight with Arjuna. The Gandiva does not throw dice, but arrows as deadly as virulent poison. Let this battle be led by Shakuni if he chooses to fight. I shall, however, not fight with one who is greater than all the demigods combined." Bhishma then said, "Drona's son has spoken well, as also Kripa. As for Karna, he fights only out of duty, trying to enliven the troops. I am of the opinion that we should fight. When the son of Kunti has come, it is not a time for quarrel. Let us arrange our troops in battle formation and protect Duryodhana from Arjuna's onslaught. He should take the cows and return to Hastinapur. Arjuna has not come out of hiding unless the time period of exile has expired. The wheel of time revolves with its divisions. At certain times there are excesses which add up to 2 months every 5 years. Thus being the case, there would be an excess of 5 months in 13 years. Arjuna has not come out of hiding unless he knew this fact. Therefore, O king, you can make the decision on whether or not the battle is proper. Arrange the forces quickly, for Dhananjaya is at hand." Dhananjaya said, "I will not, O grandsire, give back the Pandavas their kingdom. Let all preparations for the battle be made without delay." Bhima said, "Listen to what I regard as good for you. Take 1/4 of the army and proceed to the city of Hastinapur. Another 1/4 of the army will escort the cows to our city. With half of the troops we will fight with Arjuna. Myself, Drona, Karna, Ashvatthama, and Kripa will fight with Vivatsu if he approaches. We will withstand him like the bank withstanding the surging sea." Grandfather Bhishma then gave orders for the formation of the army. Having sent away Duryodhana with 1/4 of the army, Bhishma ordered Drona to guard the middle of the formation. He ordered Ashvatthama to guard the left and Kripa to guard the right. He ordered Karna to stand in front of the army, and he himself chose to guard the army from the back. As Arjuna approached the Kuru army, he released 2 arrows that fell to the ground in front of Bhishma and Drona. After 13 years of exile, he was offering obeisances to his grandfather and his martial guru. He then released 2 more arrows that barely grazed the ears of each, indicating that he was now ready to fight with them. Hanuman was roaring from the banner, striking terror into the troops. Seeing the Kurus ready for battle, Arjuna then spoke to Uttara Kamar the following words: "O charioteer, keep the horses at a distance so that my arrows may reach them. I want to see where the vain prince of the Kurus, Duryodhana, is. Disregard all the other great warriors and single him out. After defeating him, all the others will cease battle. There in the distance stands Drona, and beyond him his son Ashvatthama. And there are the great bowmen Bhisma, Kripa, and Karna. I do not see the king, and I suspect he has taken the southern road, anxious to save his life. Proceed to the spot where Duryodhana is. For defeating him, I will come back, bringing with me the cows. Arjuna encircled the ocean of troops, trying to make his way to Duryodhana. Understanding his intentions, Kripa and the others began to chase after him. He soon caught up with Duryodhana and challenged the troops to battle. From his bow there soon came a thick shower of arrows. Soon the whole sky was covered with those arrows, and the soldiers of Duryodhana fell into confusion. While those warriors were in a confused state, he again blew his conch shell, which struck terror into the hearts of the Kuru warriors. They gave up all hope for life and fled the battlefield. In this state of confusion, the cows turned back and headed for the city of Virat. As Arjuna was approaching Duryodhana, the Kuru host headed by Karna fell upon him. The first warrior to reach him was Karna. He rained upon Arjuna a shower of arrows, but it was of no use. Arjuna cut his bowstring and the standard from his chariot. Losing the use of his bow, he fled the battlefield. The next warrior to reach Arjuna was King Shatrantapa. He was enraged and desired to put an end to the son of Pandu. Arjuna, however, killed his 4 horses and his chariot driver, and then with an arrow capable of piercing his heavy coat of armor, he sent him to the court of Yamaraj. Arjuna then ranged the battlefield, depriving the life of the Kuru host in thousands. The next warrior to approach Arjuna was Sangramajit, the brother of Karna. He fell upon Arjuna like a tempest, but Arjuna quickly killed his 4 red horses, and with a crescent-shaped arrow severed his head. When his brother had fallen on the field of battle, Karna quickly pierced Arjuna with 12 arrows. He covered his horses with a thick shower of arrows and pierced Virat's son in the hand, where he held the reins of the chariot. Seeing the duel that was taking place, the Kuru host looked on, not taking any part. Arjuna covered the chariot of Karna with thousands of arrows so that it could not be seen. However, Karna soon released himself from that network of arrows and sent forth a loud roar, competing with the monkey on the banner of Arjuna's chariot. Karna then released arrows that covered the chariot of Arjuna. Highly enraged and drawing back his bow to his ear, Arjuna pierced Karna in every part of his body. Mangled by Arjuna's crescent-shaped arrows, Karna fled the battlefield. After the son of Radha had been routed, the Kuru host fell upon Arjuna like the ocean attacks the beach. Using his celestial weapons, Partha pierced every warrior on the battlefield, whether he was a foot soldier, charioteer, horseman, or elephant rider. There was no warrior that was not pierced with enough arrows so that there was not 2 fingers' breadth between each wound. Horses were running here and there, dragging behind them the remnants of broken chariots. Elephants, pierced by thousands of arrows, were dropping on the field of battle, and looked like huge hills with streams of water running from them. Arjuna struck terror besides arrows into the hearts of Duryodhana's troops. As soon as anyone reached Arjuna, he was sent to the other world. The whole battlefield soon turned into a nightmare of mangled bodies and severed heads. The Gandiva bow was in a perfect circle at all times, and the celestial weapons were drinking the blood of all who opposed. The earth became muddied by the river that was created from the dead bodies on the side of the Kurus. Arjuna pierced Drona with 70 arrows, and Duryodhana with 100. He then pierced Karna in the ear with a barbed arrow and destroyed his chariot and horses. With this act, the troops that were supporting him fled in all directions. Dhananjaya then ordered Uttarakumar to go towards the division of soldiers where Kripa was the commander-in-chief. Seeing Arjuna coming, Kripa pierced Arjuna with 12 arrows. Arjuna was enraged and pierced Kripa's horses with 4 arrows, causing his horses to rear, and Kripa fell from his chariot. Greatly angered by his defeat, Kripa mounted his chariot and by means of a celestial weapon pierced Arjuna with 10,000 arrows. Arjuna shook off that network of arrows and with his own arrows cut the armor from the body of Kripa. He then cut his bowstring and the standard from his chariot. Kripa picked up another bow, but that string was cut by Arjuna. Each bow that Kripa picked up was cut by Arjuna, and having no more bows, Sardwat's son picked up a javelin that resembled a blazing thunderbolt. Kripa released it with the speed of a meteor, but Arjuna cut it to pieces with 10 arrows. When Arjuna had smashed his chariot, killed his horses and charioteer, Kripa took up a mace and descending from his chariot ran at Arjuna to end his life. Kripa released the mace with all his might, but Arjuna sent it in another direction by means of his forceful arrows. When the warriors in Kripa's division saw that he was in danger of being killed, they surrounded Arjuna and covered him with arrows. Taking Sardwat's son onto a chariot, they took him to another part of the battlefield. After Kripacharya had been taken away in this way, the invincible Drona rushed toward Arjuna on his golden chariot drawn by red horses. Arjuna then spoke to Drona. Having completed our exile in the forest, we are not desirous of avenging our wrongs. O sinless one, I will not strike you unless you strike me first. This is my intention. Thus addressed by Arjuna, Drona released 20 arrows at the son of Kunti. Arjuna counted those arrows and released a shower of arrows so that Drona could not be seen. With his celestial weapons, Drona tried to overcome Arjuna, but Partha countered the Indra, the Vayavya, and the Agneya weapons. While engaged in a fight with Drona, Arjuna was being attacked on all sides. By means of his celestial weapons, Arjuna pierced thousands of warriors with thousands of arrows, and all that approached the chariot of Arjuna were sent to the abode of Yamaraj. Suddenly Arjuna released from his bow hundreds and thousands of arrows that covered the chariot of Drona, and the Kuru army thought that Drona was finished. Coming to aid his father, Ashvatthama challenged Arjuna to fight. Drona's armor and weapons were gone, and this gave him a chance to slip away from the battlefield. Arjuna immediately attacked Ashvatthama's horses and threw them into confusion. Ashvatthama countered and found the opportunity to cut the string of the Gandiva bow. He then released an arrow that pierced the chest of Arjuna. Arjuna laughed loudly, and placing another string on his bow, he attacked the son of Drona. Arjuna's quivers were inexhaustible, and he was releasing a constant flow of arrows, creating a slaughter on the field of battle. The stench of the dead bodies was overwhelming, and Uttarakamara was fainting under the strain. When Ashvatthama's arrows were exhausted, he left the battlefield with no more weapons to fight with. While havoc was being created on the battlefield, Grandfather Bhishma rushed at Arjuna. He blew his conch shell, cheering the sons of Dhritarashtra. The demigods as well as the sages assembled in the heavens to see the wonderful fight with the son of Ganga and the son of Kunti. Bhishma quickly pierced the monkey on the flagstaff with 8 arrows. Arjuna, taking up a mighty javelin, cut off the top of the chariot of Bhishma. The battle became fierce, and both were using celestial weapons received from the demigods, such as Prajapati, Indra, Agneya, Rudra, Kuvera, Varuna, Yamaraj, and Vayu. The demigods and the sages exclaimed the glories of both, and the Kauravas sent up loud roars encouraging the aged Bhishma. Then, suddenly, Partha cut the bow of Bhishma into pieces. He then pierced Grandfather Bhishma in the chest with 10 arrows, and Ganga's son fell to the floor of his chariot in a swoon. The charioteer, seeing the critical situation, took Grandfather Bhishma from the battlefield. After Maharaj Bhishma had left, Duryodhana attacked Arjuna with the intention of killing him. He released an arrow that struck Duryodhana in the forehead, causing blood to flow from his wound. Greatly angered, the son of Kunti pierced the king in return. In order to save the life of Duryodhana, Karna, riding on the back of a huge elephant, attacked Arjuna. Seeing the elephant approaching like a mountain, Arjuna pulled out a golden arrow, and drawing the string of his bow back to his ears, released that arrow, which entered the forehead of the elephant up to the feathers. The elephant trembled and fell to the earth, screaming in agony. Karna jumped off the dead elephant, ran backwards a full 800 feet, and ascended the chariot of his brother. Arjuna then pierced the chest of Duryodhana, and that great warrior, vomiting blood from his mouth, fled from the battlefield. Arjuna would not let him go. He challenged him again. Sacrificing your name and fame, why do you flee from the battlefield? I am Arjuna, the third son of Pritha. Turn back and show me your face, bearing in mind the behavior of kings. Why are you running away from the battlefield like a coward? I do not see any bodyguards around your chariot. They have all fled like you. Stand and fight. Being stung by the words of Arjuna, the son of Dhritarashtra returned like a snake trampled underfoot. Suddenly, all the divisions of the army, headed by Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Ashvatthama, and Karna, attacked Arjuna, trying to save the life of the king. Seeing them coming at once, Arjuna called for the Samohan weapon received from Indra. Releasing this weapon and blowing on his conch shell, the whole of the army fell to the ground, deprived of their senses. Arjuna then addressed Uttarakamara. O best of men, go to the Kurus and take away their scarfs. Take some garment from Drona, Kripa, Duryodhana, Karna, and Ashvatthama. Bhishma is still conscious, for he knows how to counteract this astra of mine. Jumping down from the chariot, Kumar took some garment from each of the great generals and came back to his chariot. Feeling satisfied after his victory, Arjuna decided to leave the battlefield. However, Bhishma attacked Arjuna, but Partha killed his horses and his charioteer, and with a smile on his face headed for the city of Virat. Duryodhana awoke, and seeing Arjuna leaving the battlefield, chastised Bhishma in strong words. Grandfather Bhishma replied, "Why don't you rise and challenge him? While you were unconscious, he could have taken your life. He, however, is not inclined to sin, and therefore you are still alive. Let us go back to the city of the Kurus, and let Partha return to the kingdom of Virat, having retrieved the cows. Do not foolishly throw away your life. Following the advice of the grandsire, Duryodhana, accompanied by the rest of his army, went back to the city of Hastinapur, humiliated by the dallas of Arjuna. Arjuna then had Uttarakamara return to the Shami tree. Again the weapons and the 8-banner were put into the corpse-like covering and hoisted into the tree. Arjuna then told Prince Uttara that he should take the credit for what had happened, and that he should not reveal their disguise to the king. Prince Uttara agreed not to disclose the secret of the Pandavas, but refused to take credit for such superhuman activities. That afternoon, Uttarakamara ordered the cowherdsmen to announce the victory of the king. The son of Kunti and the son of Virat rested for the afternoon and then entered the city of the Matsyas. Thus ends the 4th chapter of the Virata Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled Arjuna Challenges the Kaurava Army. Chapter 5 of the Virata Parva. The Pandavas reveal themselves. When King Virat had defeated the Trigartas, he entered the city accompanied by the 4 Pandavas. He entered his palace and sat upon his throne. He was then worshipped by the Brahmanas and by the citizens. While listening to his glorification, he inquired about Uttara. The women in the palace replied, the cows were taken away by the Kuru host, and Uttara, being enraged, set out on a single chariot with Brihadnala as his charioteer. He set out to fearlessly challenge the Kuru elders, Bhisma, Drona, Kripa, Karna, Duryodhana, and Ashvameda. When the king heard that his son had single-handedly challenged the enemy, he was filled with grief. He ordered that the troops leave the city arrayed in battle formation for the protection of Uttarakamara. He said, immediately go out of the city and find whether the prince is still alive. I think that with only Brihadnala as his assistant, he no longer lives. King Yudhisthira then spoke to Virat in the following words. If Brihadnala is the charioteer of Uttarakamara, then there is no need to worry for the safety of your son or the cows. Protected by Brihadnala, your son will be able to vanquish the demigods, the asuras, and the yakshas combined. As Maharaj Yudhisthira was speaking to King Virat, the messengers arrived with the news that the Kauravas had been defeated and the cows recovered. The messengers said, your son, O king, is well, having defeated the Kurus in battle. The cows have also been brought back. Soon that glorious son of yours will be in your presence. On hearing this, King Virat's hair stood on end out of excessive joy, and he could not control himself. Maharaj Yudhisthira then said to him, it is by good luck that the cows have been recovered and the Kurus defeated. I do not think it very wonderful, however, that your son defeated the Kurus as long as Brihadnala was his chariot driver. The king was in ecstasy and paid little attention to the words of Yudhisthira. He ordered the citizens to greet the prince at the city gate with all kinds of auspicious presentations. He then desired to play a game of dice with Yudhisthira. When Yudhisthira saw his excessive joy like a fever, he spoke to the king. O monarch, what business do you have with gambling, which is accompanied by many evils? It should not be indulged in. You may have heard how the sons of Pandu lost their extensive kingdom by this evil game. For this reason I dislike the game. If, however, you are insistent, then let the game begin. While the dice game was going on, King Virat said, just imagine, O Kanka, the Kauravas, who are invincible in battle, have been vanquished by my son. Yudhisthira replied, Uttara would have been able to conquer anyone as long as he had Brihadnala for his charioteer. When addressed in this way, the king became angry and said, you foolish Brahmana, how can you compare a eunuch to my son? Have you no knowledge of what is proper and what is improper to say? You are disregarding my statements. It is possible for my son to vanquish all the Kurus with Bhishma and Drona as their leaders. Because of our friendship, I will pardon this offense. Do not make this statement again if you wish to live. Yudhisthira replied, there was Bhishma, Drona, and Drona's son, Karna, Kripa, and King Duryodhana, and other royal and mighty Kar warriors. Even if Indra was there along with the Maruts, there could be none other than Brihadnala who could conquer them. There has been none, there is none, and there will be none who can be his equal. He can vanquish the demigods, the demons, and the human beings combined. With such a person as an ally, why could he not conquer the enemy? Becoming angry, Virat said, you have been repeatedly forbidden by me, and you do not restrain your tongue. If I do not punish you, you will not learn virtue. Saying this, the king threw the dice at Yudhisthira's face and said, do not let this happen again. When Yudhisthira was struck in this way, blood began to flow from his nose. He held his hand out and prevented it from touching the ground. The first son of Kunti then indicated to Draupadi that she should bring something to catch the blood. She immediately brought a golden jug with water and caught the blood that flowed from his wound. It was at this time that Prince Uttara entered the palace, followed by Brihadnala. When it was announced that the prince was to enter the court, Yudhisthira whispered to Sairindri, "Indicate to Arjuna that he should not enter the court with Prince Uttara. He has taken a vow that anyone who sheds my blood, other than at the time of battle, shall not live. If he sees what has happened, he will kill Virat along with the whole Matsya army." Draupadi quickly did as she was told, and Prince Uttara entered the assembly alone. Then the prince entered and approached his father to worship him. After offering respects to the king and receiving his blessings, Uttara Kumar saw Kanka sitting off a little ways, his face covered in blood. He was waited upon by Sairindri. Overwhelmed with fear, he spoke to his father. "Who has performed the sinful act of drawing blood from this greatest of men, Kanka? The reaction to this will be very great." Virat replied, "I have hit this proud Brahmana. He deserves more than this, for while I was glorifying your prowess, he was praising Brihadnala for conquering the enemy." Uttara Kumar said, "I think that you have committed an improper act. You should seek his forgiveness so that his curse will not consume your whole dynasty at the roots." Coming to his senses, King Virat went to Yudhisthira, comforted him, and sought his forgiveness. Yudhisthira replied, "O king, I have already forgiven you, for anger does not exist in me. Had this blood fallen to the ground, you would have been destroyed along with your kingdom. I do not blame you for striking an innocent person, for such are the ways of powerful persons. They generally act with unreasoning severity." At this time, Brihadnala entered the court. He offered respects to the king and also Kanka. As he stood there, King Virat began to glorify his son in the presence of all. "O my son, please tell us how you were able to encounter and defeat the grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, Bhisma, in battle. Please tell us also how you defeated the preceptor of the Kurus, the mighty Drona, whose prowess knows no bounds. Please tell us also how you conquered the mighty Karna, who can pierce 1,000 warriors at a time. Tell us how you encountered Kripa, Ashwatthama, and the very powerful Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra. Please tell us, for we are all anxious to hear." Uttara Kumar said, "Actually, the cows have not been recovered by me, nor did I defeat in battle the great Kuru generals. This was all accomplished by a demigod of celestial origin. When I saw the vast ocean of Kuru warriors, I ran from the battlefield. But this youth stopped me and encouraged me to fight with him. He asked me to drive his chariot, and thus it was he who repulsed the arrows of Kripa, Drona, and Bhishma. It was by his prowess alone that sent Duryodhana running from the battlefield. Also Karna, stripped of his prowess, was defeated by this youth, and Drona's son was also defeated. It was he that mowed down the troops of the Kurus in thousands like a hurricane destroying trees. He released the cows and sent them running back to your city. I witnessed all of this, but I was simply the chariot driver." King Virat said, "Where is that celestial youth who has recovered my wealth? I am anxious to behold and worship that mighty warrior who has defeated the greatest warriors on earth." Uttara Kumar replied, "The powerful youth disappeared after he had accomplished his purpose. However, he told me that he would appear in your palace within a few days." King Virat could not understand that the youth his son was talking about was Brihadnala, and thus he remained ignorant of the Pandavas in disguise. Brihadnala then went to the princess, the daughter of the king, and presented to her the garments of the great warriors. Princess Uttara was overjoyed to receive those garments and asked for a detailed report on what had happened. Thus Brihadnala entered the lady's chambers and began to relate all that had taken place. Then on the third day, the Pandavas entered Virat's court, wearing the white robes of kings and wearing golden ornaments and valuable gems. They entered the council hall and sat on the seats reserved for kings. After taking their seats, Virat came there to perform his daily duties. He saw the Pandavas seated on the royal thrones, effulgent as the sun, appearing like 5 demigods descended from the heavens. He was, however, overwhelmed with anger and spoke to Yudhisthira. "Yesterday you were a player of dice and my subordinate counselor. How can you claim to occupy the royal throne and wear the dress of a king?" Hearing the angry words of Virat, Arjuna smilingly said to him, "This person, O king, deserves to sit on the throne of Indra himself. He is devoted to the Brahmanas and conversant with all the Vedas. He is indifferent to opulence and bodily enjoyments, and as such he is superior to everyone on earth. He is intelligent, devoted to asceticism, and kind to all living entities. There is none amongst the demigods, demons, or human beings who is his equal. As a performer of sacrifices to Vishnu, he is a royal sage in the dress of a king. He is equal in wealth to Indra and Kuvera, and in prowess for protecting the citizens. He is like Manu, the father of mankind. Devoted to the cause of justice, he is none other than the foremost of all men, King Yudhisthira. His fame is known all over the three worlds, just like the sun. 10,000 elephants used to follow him wherever he traveled, as well as 30,000 chariots bedecked with gold and drawn by the best horses. To perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, he made all the kings of the earth pay tribute to him. The good qualities of this person cannot be fully enumerated. Why then can he not sit on the royal throne and rule everyone? King Virat was in a state of bewilderment, and he inquired of Arjuna, "If this is King Yudhisthira, then where is Bhima? And which one of these heroes is the great archer Arjuna? Which of these men is Nakula, and which is Sahadev? Also, where is Draupadi? We have heard that the Pandavas have gone to the forest and have not been seen or heard of for the period of 1 year." Arjuna said, "O king, the cook in your kitchen, the one known as Vallabha, is Bhima of mighty arms. It was by him that the great Rakshasas, Hidimva and Baka, were slain. It is by the might of his arms alone that Kichaka and his relatives were killed. It is by his prowess alone that you were saved from the death at the hands of the mighty Trikarta. The great chariot fighter Nakula is the one who has been taking care of your horses. The highly intelligent Sahadev is the one who has been taking care of your cows. There is none equal in beauty to these two twins, not even in the heavenly planets. These great chariot warriors are an equal match to 1,000 great chariot fighters. Your wife's maidservant Sairindri, for whom Kichaka was killed, is the beautiful and chaste Draupadi. She is like a demigoddess and is a second expansion to Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. I am, O king, Arjuna, by whose prowess all the great Kuru warriors were defeated the other day. We have happily passed in your abode the last year of our exile." After revealing themselves to Virat and hearing confirmation from the king's son Uttara, the king considered that he had committed a grave offense against Yudhisthira. He said to his son, "I think the time has come for me to worship the sons of Pandu. I should bestow upon them my daughter Uttara." Virat then addressed the Pandavas. "When I had been defeated by the enemy, it was Bhima who rescued me, and by the grace of Arjuna all the great heroes in the house of the Kurus were defeated and my cows saved. Such being the case, please accept our worship and forgive any offenses that we may have committed against you in ignorance." The king of the Matsyas was overjoyed at the presence of such exalted personalities and made an alliance with them. He offered them his kingdom along with his wealth and cities. He also requested Arjuna, "Please accept, along with my kingdom, the hand of my beautiful daughter in marriage." Arjuna replied, "O monarch, I will accept your daughter as my daughter-in-law. While in her association, she trusted me as her father, and I also protected her as one would protect a daughter. While associating with her, I remain pure with my senses under control. My son Abhimanyu is a fit husband for your daughter. He resembles a celestial youth and is conversant with all the weapons of warfare. He is a favorite of Lord Krishna and thus an equal to your daughter." Greatly pleased that the Pandavas would be his allies through marriage, Virat began to arrange a wedding ceremony. Arjuna sent for his son Abhimanyu and also invited Lord Krishna and the members of the Yadu dynasty. All the favorable kings of the earth were invited to come and participate in the festival. After 13 years of exile, the Pandavas had now taken up their abode in the kingdom of Virat. Upon hearing that the Pandavas were living in the kingdom of the Matsyas, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came there along with his most powerful brother Balaram. Kritavarman arrived as well as Satyaki, the commander-in-chief of the Yadu dynasty. The king of Kashi arrived accompanied by an Akshahini division of troops. Also, King Saivya, being very friendly with Yudhisthira, arrived with another Akshahini division. The mighty King Drupad arrived along with his powerful sons Dristadumya and Sikandi, the foremost wielders of weapons. They also arrived with another Akshahini division of soldiers. Many kings with their troops arrived ready to die for the cause of King Yudhisthira. All these kings bestowed great wealth upon the Pandavas during the marriage ceremony of Abhimanyu and Princess Uttara. A great ceremony was held and all enjoyed it. While sitting in the council hall at Virat, King Yudhisthira, seated on the royal throne, appeared like Indra, the king of heaven, surrounded by all the subordinate demigods. Thus ends the 5th chapter of the Virata Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled The Pandavas Reveal Themselves. Thus ends the Virata Parva section to the summary study of the Mahabharata. Udyoga Parva, Chapter 1, A Plan to Make Peace. After the marriage of Abhimanyu, all became joyful, and then rested for the night. The next day, all the kings who had assembled for the cause of King Yudhisthira came to the court of Virat to discuss the future. The assembly consisted of King Virat, King Drupad, the great general in the race of Shini, Satyaki, King Yudhisthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadev. There was also Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his very powerful brother, Lord Balaram. From the house of Yadu, there was also Pradumni and Samba. The son of Arjuna, Abhimanyu, was there, as well as the sons of Draupadi, appearing like their fathers in prowess. The sons of Drupad and the sons of Virat were also seated in the court. They all talked on varied subject matters for some time, and after conversing with each other, they sat in a thoughtful mood, their eyes fixed on the beautiful form of Lord Krishna. The Lord sat in the midst of the assembled kings, like the full moon amidst the many stars in the sky. With his lotus-like eyes and bluish complexion, he was attracting the minds of everyone. While gazing upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead with unsatiable glances, they waited for him to speak. After due contemplation, the Lord of the universe said, "It is known to all that the Pandavas were unfairly defeated in gambling by the son of Suval, and thus robbed of their kingdom. They were then exiled to the forest for a 13-year period, which they faithfully carried out. The sons of Dhritarashtra still maintain their desires for complete sovereignty of the world kingdom, although the Pandavas have a right to share half of that kingdom. What Duryodhana exactly thinks is not completely known, so what opinion can be formed? Therefore, persons should be selected who can go to the city of Hastinapur and induce them to give half the kingdom to the Pandavas." After listening to the words of his younger brother, Lord Baladev, the carrier of the club and plough, spoke to the assembled kings. "You have all listened to the words of Krishna, which are pregnant with virtue and beneficial to both Yudhisthira and Duryodhana. The sons of Dhritarashtra should therefore give up half their kingdom joyfully, so that this quarrel can be settled. It is known that when Yudhisthira was in possession of the throne, he unnecessarily engaged in gambling, although he was not able to play the game well. He foolishly gambled his kingdom away, and no blame can be put on Shakuni. Therefore the messenger should approach the sons of Dhritarashtra with words of humility intended to pacify Duryodhana. I don't think there is anything to be gained by war with the Kurus." While Lord Balaram was speaking, the descendant in the dynasty of Shini, Satyaki, rose up and condemned the words of Lord Balaram which were in favor of Duryodhana. Satyaki said, "A man will certainly speak what is within his heart. It is well known that you cherish affection for Duryodhana, although he is sinful. By his deceitful nature, he tricked the sons of Pandu out of their kingdom. Instead of facing them on the field of battle, they chose to cheat them out of their kingdom by throwing dice. They are cowards of the highest order. Why should Yudhisthira, who is entitled to the ancestral throne, humble himself before the wicked Duryodhana, who tried to see the beloved wife of the Pandavas stripped naked in the assembly of kings? They should either give back the kingdom or be ready to fight. Who can withstand Arjuna on the field of battle? Who can stand in front of Lord Krishna as he wields his Sudarshan discus to destroy the entire force of the Kurus? Who can withstand the powerful Bhima, mace in hand, ready to destroy the ranks of the oncoming enemy? There is no need to approach them like beggars. Either Yudhisthira has given back his kingdom this very day, or the sons of Dhritarashtra will lie down on the earth, slain by me." After the speech of Satyaki, the great king Drupad then spoke. "You have spoken well. Never will Duryodhana agree to give his kingdom back by peaceful means. Dhritarashtra will agree with the wishes of his son, and Bhishma and Drona will follow out of stupidity. Karna and Shakuni will certainly join forces with Duryodhana out of folly. The words of Baladev are indeed righteous, but never should Duryodhana be addressed in mild words. A person never speaks sweet words to a snake, but severity should be employed. Let a person be sent to Duryodhana demanding half the kingdom. At the same time, let messages be sent to all the kings of the earth who are favorable to the cause of Yudhisthira. Let them come here to support us." Lord Krishna then said, "The words of Drupad are well spoken and meant to promote the interest of the sons of Pandu. However, our relationship to both the Kurus and the Pandavas is equal. We have been invited here for the marriage ceremony of Abhimanyu. The marriage ceremony is now complete, and we should return to our own kingdoms. Since you, King Drupad, are the eldest and most respected amongst us, you should send a message to Duryodhana requesting half the kingdom. If the son of Dhritarashtra should make peace, then there should be no hard feelings on either side. However, if Duryodhana refuses to make peace, then after calling others, also call us. The The wicked will have to face the onslaught of the Gandiva bow, as well as my wrath also." Saying this much, Lord Krishna began to make preparations to leave the city of the Matsyas. He was worshipped by King Virat as well as by all the kings present. After the departure of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Yudhisthira along with King Virat began to make preparations for war. King Drupad sent for one of his most trusted priests and gave him a message to be spoken in the midst of the Kuru leaders. The priest then departed. Meanwhile, the Pandavas continued making preparations for a future battle, knowing well the mentality of their wicked cousin. The third son of Kunti, Arjuna, then left for Dwarka in hopes of obtaining the favor of both Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev. When Duryodhana learned through spies the intentions of the Pandavas, he also set out for Dwarka, accompanied by a small number of troops. Both Arjuna and the son of Dhritarashtra arrived in the city of the Yadus on the same day. At the time when they arrived, Lord Krishna was asleep. They both entered the room together. Duryodhana sat at the head of the bed, whereas Arjuna sat at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna awoke, he saw Arjuna first seated at the end of the bed. He greeted both Arjuna and Duryodhana and asked about their welfare. Duryodhana then addressed Lord Krishna in the following words: "I am asking you to lend me your help in the war that will be fought in the future. Arjuna and myself are equally your friends. O descendant of Madhu, you bear the same relationship to both families. Therefore, since I have come to you first, please follow the path of virtuous men. You are at the top of the list of all righteous men, and therefore I ask you to assist me at this time." Lord Krishna replied, "It is indeed true that you have come to me first. However, I have cast my glance upon Partha first. Since you have both come here, I shall lend my assistance to both causes. Those who are junior in years should have the first choice. I have a body of soldiers known as the Narayanas, numbering 1,000,000 men. On the other hand, there is myself. However, I will not fight in the battle. Arjuna, you may choose between myself and my own men. Since you are the youngest, you may pick first." When given first choice by Lord Krishna, Arjuna chose his most intimate friend, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Joyfully, Duryodhana chose the troops of Lord Krishna out of ignorance of the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After this meeting, Duryodhana went to Lord Balaram, the possessor of great power. Duryodhana explained how Krishna had chosen Arjuna, although he himself would not fight. Duryodhana then requested Lord Balaram to fight on his side. Hearing this, Balaram replied to Duryodhana, "When we were present at the marriage ceremony celebrated by Virat, I spoke in favor of your views. I supported our affection for both parties, although Krishna did not agree. Krishna has now chosen the side of Arjuna, and under no circumstances can I fight against him. Therefore, I will fight neither for the sons of Pandu or the sons of Dhritarashtra." Duryodhana was pleased to hear that Balaram would not take either side. Embracing the wielder of the club and plough, he considered Arjuna as already vanquished. The royal son of Dhritarashtra then went to Kritavarman and requested him to take up arms against the Pandavas. Kritavarman agreed and gave to Duryodhana one Akshahini division of soldiers. After Duryodhana had departed with Kritavarman and the great military phalanxes of the Narayanas, Krishna, the most merciful Lord, addressed Arjuna. "Why is it, O Arjuna, that you have chosen myself, who will not take up any arms?" Arjuna replied, "My lord, there is no doubt in my mind that you are able to kill all these soldiers. O best among men, I am also capable of slaying all of Duryodhana's troops. However, I know that wherever you are present, there will also be victory, fame, and opulence. These qualities are present wherever you are. For this reason I have selected you, although I know you will not fight. It is my desire that you ride upon my chariot and drive my horses. Please fulfill this desire, for with your assistance there is no chance that the Kurus will be victorious." Lord Keshava said, "I will without doubt ride upon your chariot and direct you to victory. By my grace all your opponents will die in this great battle to come." Thrilled at the thought of having Lord Krishna, the slayer of Madhu, riding upon his chariot, Partha caused the personality of Godhead to accompany him to Upaplavya, the city of Virat. Having heard from the messengers of Drupad of the upcoming war, Salya, the king of Madras and the brother of Madri, directed one Akshahini division to King Yudhisthira. So large was that group of troops that when it was encamped, it covered 12 miles. When Duryodhana learned of Salya's intentions, he ordered that the best accommodations be made for his comfort. Different houses were erected along his route, and when Salya was entertained in those houses, he became joyful at the thought that Yudhisthira had gone to so much trouble for his comfort. He was given the most royal treatment on an equal level with the demigods. Still thinking that it was King Yudhisthira who had caused all this to be done, he called for those men who had arranged such nice accommodations. He vowed that he would grant a benediction to whoever had made such nice arrangements. When Duryodhana came before Shalya, and Salya understood that it was Duryodhana who had made all the arrangements, Salya said, "You may take a benediction from me." Duryodhana then replied, "If your words are truthful, then I ask you to be the leader of my army." Salya then said, "This benediction will be fulfilled, for what can I do? I have agreed to give a benediction. Before coming to Hastinapur, however, I will visit Yudhisthira, for he is my beloved nephew. It therefore behooves me to meet with him." Duryodhana said, "O ruler of the earth, after seeing the Pandavas come to my city with great speed, I depend entirely upon you, O King of Kings." Salya then left for the city of Ukaplavya, the city of Virat. Upon reaching the city of the Matsyas, King Salya met with Yudhisthira and was given a royal reception. The king then informed Yudhisthira of what had happened in his meeting with Duryodhana. King Yudhisthira replied, "O valiant king, you must act as you have promised. However, I ask a favor of you, and I hope that you will execute it for my sake only. O great king, you are an equal to Krishna on the field of battle. When the single combat takes place between Arjuna and Karna, I have no doubt that you will drive the chariot of Karna. When this event takes place, I hope that you will give protection to Arjuna. You must act in such a way that the son of Asuta will be dispirited in battle, and then victory will be ours. It is an improper action, but still for our sake I request you to do it." Salya replied, "To be sure I will be his charioteer, for he considers me to be an equal with Lord Krishna. At that time I will speak to the wicked son of Asuta in such a way that he will feel depressed. And in that condition it will be easier for Arjuna to kill him. Whatever I may be able to do, I will do it for your sake. You have suffered much from the gambling match and the insults to Draupadi. They all deserve to die for this, and certainly it will happen, for Providence is supreme." After being treated royally by the Pandavas, Salya went to the city of Hastinapur to join the side of Duryodhana. Then came to the side of the Pandavas Satyaki, the great hero of the Satvata race. He came with an Akshahini division of soldiers consisting of many thousands of chariots, tens of thousands of cavalry, tens of thousands of infantry, and thousands upon thousands of beautifully decorated elephants. Also coming to the side of the Pandavas was the powerful king of the Chedis, Drishtaketu, accompanied by an Akshahini division of soldiers. The king of Magadha, Jayatsena, brought to the side of the Pandavas another Akshahini division of soldiers consisting of men whose prowess was immeasurable. King Pandya, who lived on the coast near the sea, came to the side of the Pandavas, bringing with him uncountable troops. King Drupad brought with him his sons, undefeatable in battle, as well as an Akshahini division of soldiers consisting of the 4 kinds of troops. King Virat also gave to Yudhisthira another Akshahini division of soldiers to help conquer the wicked sons of Dhritarashtra. Altogether, Yudhisthira had collected 7 Akshahini divisions, eager to fight with the Kurus. Many kings also came to the side of Duryodhana with the intention of helping him retain his kingdom. These kings each brought with them an Akshahini division of soldiers. They were King Bhagadat, Udishavas, King Salya of Madras, Kritavarman, the son of Hridika, accompanied by the Bhojas and the Andakas. Jayadratha, the king of Sindhu, came to the aid of Duryodhana, as well as Sudakshin, the leader of the Kambojas. King Nila, the ruler of Mahishmati, also came there with an Akshahini division of troops, as well as the kings of Avantipur, Vinda and Anuvinda. The princess of Kekaya also came to Duryodhana, gladdening his heart with a large number of troops. Thus King Duryodhana had collected 11 Akshahini divisions of soldiers to fight against the sons of Pandu. There were so many troops that the leaders of the troops could not fit into the city of Hastinapur. Their encampments spread over many provinces and along many rivers. Thus the 2 sides amassed their armies and arsenals with the intention of aiding either the sons of Pandu or the sons of Dhritarashtra. It was all a part of Lord Krishna's plan to decrease the unnecessary military burden of the world. All those soldiers would die in a battle that was to last for 18 days. Thus Lord Krishna fulfilled his promise in Bhagavad Gita. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I invent myself millennium after millennium. Thus ends the first chapter of the Udyoga Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled, A Plan to Make Peace.